North Korea is one of the most closed and mysterious countries in the world. Its economy and technologies develop in isolation, leading to the emergence of unique yet little known industrial examples. The automotive industry of North Korea is a rare glimpse into how the country adapts global trends to its own circumstances. Today, we will take a closer look at this closed industry. Despite numerous challenges, cars are produced in North Korea, and the country even has its own automotive industry, albeit with limited production volumes. Before we begin, a quick announcement. I use AI voiceover because my English is still not very strong. However, everything else, ideas, editing, and material selection, I do myself. So please support the channel with a subscription and a like, and let's dive into the main topic of the video. The country's leadership made a rational decision. To build a nation, you need trucks. This is how the Sungri 58 appeared in North Korea, an exact copy of the Gaz 51. Sungri translates to victory, and it was truly a victory for North Korea. The first vehicle was produced in 1958, and all units were supplied to the military or other state services. Without any significant external or technical modifications, the truck was produced until the early 1970s. It was equipped with a 3.5-liter, six-cylinder gasoline engine. Along with the Gaz 51 documentation, the USSR also provided North Korea with the blueprints for the Gaz 69 and Gaz 69A, as the country lacked a developed transportation infrastructure and had a great need for off-road passenger vehicles. This led to the launch of the Kangsang 68 production. Manufacturing began in 1968 and continued until the mid-1980s. The name Kangsang translates to self-confidence. These replica vehicles were produced at the Pungsan automobile plant. The vehicle was equipped with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder gasoline engine. Based on the Gaz 69, North Korean engineers developed the Kangsang 68 NA truck. The vehicle lost its all-wheel drive transmission but could carry up to 1 ton of cargo. With some reservations, this pickup can be considered the first vehicle designed independently by North Korean engineers, as the original Soviet model had no such modification. In the second half of the 1970s, the Sungri plant began producing a new model, the 58KA. In reality, it was a deep modernization of its predecessor, mainly affecting the cab and engine accessories. The truck's payload capacity remained unchanged at 2,500 kilograms. The last known information about the vehicle's production dates back to 2008. Its current production status is unknown, as the North Korean government is not eager to share information with the global press. A country cannot be built on medium-duty trucks alone, so North Korea began small-scale production of the Sungrisen, also known as Consor, translated as Victory Mountain and Constructor, respectively. Production began in the 1970s with a payload capacity of 25 to 30 tons and a 35-liter V12 diesel engine. Whether this dump truck is a licensed copy of the Belarusian Bel AZ or an independent North Korean development remains unknown. It is safe to say that North Korea is a highly energy-dependent country. It is under sanctions, and even basic fuel is in short supply, not to mention spare parts. Speaking of fuel, it is worth noting that North Korea has massively converted trucks to wood gas generators. This method of fuel production was widely used in the first half of the 20th century, but most countries abandoned it with the rise of readily available petroleum products. However, in North Korea, it has been revived. Gas-powered vehicles first appeared in North Korea in the 1990s, when the country faced a severe fuel crisis. During this period, experiments began to convert trucks, buses, and even passenger cars to alternative energy sources. Many North Korean trucks, including the Sungri 58KA and Kangsang 68, were equipped with homemade wood gas generators. The operation of these vehicles is based on the pyrolysis of wood, where combustible gas is extracted from solid fuel and used as a substitute for gasoline or diesel. Gas generator units are mounted behind the cab or on a special platform, and the fuel consists of firewood, coal, or wood waste. Although these trucks have low power and require frequent refueling, they have become essential to North Korea's economy. They can be found in rural areas, construction sites, and even the military. The use of gas generators has allowed the country to partially compensate for the lack of imported fuel and keep its transport sector functioning. North Korea's passenger car industry also began with copying, and of course, they copied a Soviet car. Akimkoi is an almost exact replica of the GAZ-M20 Pobeda. Akimkoi, which translates from Korean as morning flower, remains shrouded in mystery. There is very little information about this car, and only a few photos exist. The exact number of units produced and the period of its production are unknown. In the 1970s, North Korea introduced a new sedan called Pektosan. The design reflected the style of the era, but its chassis and all internal components remained unchanged from the Akimkoi. North Korea's newest and largest automobile factory was established in Nampo in 1998. Interestingly, this plant was created in collaboration with the Unification Church of South Korea, which had ties to the Vietnamese company Mekong Motors. Mekong Motors, among other things, produced licensed Fiats, which explains the choice of debut models. The Huiparam, translated as whistle, was essentially a Fiat Palio, a fairly modern and practical car for 1998, especially by North Korean standards.
장군님께서는 우리나라 평화자동차종합공장에서 생산한 이 승용차의 이름을 휘파람이라고 부르도록 해주셨습니다. 이 공장과 승용차는 새 세계 여구에 맞게 모든 것을 새로운 안목으로 보고 먼 훗날.
The Pyokugi, Cuckoo, was the local name for a van based on the Fiat Doblo. However, production of these Italian vehicles was short-lived, possibly because North Korea never actually obtained a proper license, and the Vietnamese scheme raised too many legal concerns. Besides, when you think about it, a country like North Korea doesn't really need small delivery vans. These vehicles are mainly useful for private businesses, which, of course, do not exist in North Korea. For all other needs, there are trucks. Over time, the factory shifted to producing Chinese copies of Japanese, Korean, and European cars. The exact nature of Pyeonghwa Motors' local production remains unclear. It could simply be large-scale assembly from imported kits. The plant is reportedly designed for an annual output of 10,000 cars, but according to rare available reports, production volumes have never exceeded a few hundred units per year. Despite this, in 2013, at the Pyongyang International Exhibition, Pyeonghwa showcased as many as 36 new models, which were actually rebadged Brilliance, FAW, BYD, and other Chinese cars. Additionally, in 2018, reports emerged about the launch of a new North Korean automobile brand called Nenara, the same name as the country's official government website, where North Korea showcases its achievements to the world. The only accompanying image showed 6 vehicles, from a sedan to a minibus, which were also just FAW cars with different badges. Whether these models actually exist remains unknown. However, North Korea also had its own take on luxury cars, Mercedes-Benz. Well, not exactly Mercedes-Benz, but rather unlicensed copies. I won't go into detail just yet, as this will be the topic of an upcoming video. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. On North Korean roads, you can spot both very old cars and relatively modern European and American vehicles. But you won't see Japanese cars, and there's an interesting story behind that. Whether it's a myth or reality is hard to say. But according to the tale, in 2007, North Korea declared a hunt for Japanese cars. This was allegedly ordered by Kim Jong-il himself, after an incident where a Japanese vehicle blocked the path of his motorcade. Truth or fiction? No one knows for sure. But here's a completely true story, one involving Volvo sedans that are still commonly seen in North Korea today. In 1974, Sweden delivered 1,000 Volvo cars to North Korea. The problem? They never got paid. At the time, the debt was $74 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's now nearly $330 million. And Sweden is still waiting for the payment. As of today, according to official North Korean news sources, the country only produces modern vehicles. at least by North Korean standards. The obvious anachronisms of the past are gone. Thanks to China's support, North Korea has access to modern Chinese cars and even produces its own copies of models like the Sinotruck Howo L2S, which the country's leader has proudly posed with. New cars mainly come from Russia and China, while used vehicles are most likely imported from China as well. But owning a car in North Korea is a privilege few can afford. Despite all its flaws, myths, and bad reputation, North Korea remains a fascinating country, especially from a transportation history perspective. And this won't be the last video about it. So leave a like, drop a comment, and remember, I'm using AI narration for now, because I'm still learning English with my tutor. But soon, I'll switch to my own voice. That's all for today. Subscribe, comment, and see you next time.